Hey everyone, welcome back to Papa's Home. We're on day 32 of the shower remodel, and today I'm going to install a towel bar. I recently installed a 24-inch towel bar and put it behind the door. Since this is the largest one, I think this is the one that'll be used the most. Now normally the manufacturer will send you some instructions, maybe even a template, but I find that the template is really difficult to use. It's hard to find level. Last time that I used one of these, they weren't evenly spaced, and it kind of makes sense, even though you use tape to hold this up against the wall and try to make this as flat as possible. It's still a crinkled up paper, and I find that I don't get a super precise measurement than if I were to just use a piece of tape and make a whole bunch of markings on that tape. Since I was able to put up this towel bar really easily, and the fact that I got it centered and perfectly level, I wanted to share how I did this so that you could do it this way as well. But before we jump in, I hope you consider liking and subscribing to this channel. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, and today I'm hitting pretty close to about 80 right now. Once I hit 1,000, I can start monetizing the channel, and I hope that I can start making even more videos than I was before. With that, let's jump in. So these are the tools that I'm going to be using for the project. You notice the green roll of tape, which is basically another version of painter's tape. I just think that it's a little bit better than painter's tape, but really any kind of masking tape would work totally fine for this project, so long as you can easily see pencil ticks. So the first thing I need to figure out in this project is where to put the towel bar. Now keep in mind this one's a little bit smaller. This one's 18 inches compared to the other one, which is 24 inches. And I suspect that this towel rack will probably be used for a guest. In order to determine placement, I need to take a look at the space. So originally, I wanted it centered on the floor, between the shower and the vanity. That way when you first open the door to the bathroom, visually it looks aesthetically pleasing. To determine the height, I started with the internet, which wasn't super helpful. It basically said that the average height is anywhere from 30 to 52 inches, which basically means there really isn't a standard. So here's my design tip on where to place the bar. Take a look at your surroundings. There's several points in the bathroom where you could actually line up the height to another object. So as you can see, there's a corner here, the base of the outlet, the top of the outlet. These are all different focal points that I'll use as a reference to install my towel bar. That way I have some consistency with the rest of the bathroom, and it feels cohesive, it feels together. Now since this is the second towel bar, I'm going to make it the same height as the other one, which is 41 inches. That's also the top of the backsplash that I used for the vanity. So now that I've measured 41 inches, I'm going to take a piece of tape and put that on the wall. And then afterward, I'm going to verify that I'm at 41 inches, which I'm not. So I decide to put 2 small pencil ticks on the wall. And then move my tape to the correct height. In general, I want the center of the tape to be about 41 inches, but it doesn't have to be super exact. I recommend watching this whole video first to see why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. Now that my tape is at the correct height, I'm going to measure again at 41 inches and put a small tick on either side. So far I've only made 2 pencil ticks on the wall, but I'm about to make several more pencil marks on the tape. That makes for really easy cleanup. Now I'm going to make a 3rd pencil mark for the center, between the shower and the vanity. Now I'm going to hold the towel bar up to the tape and try to align it on the center. This is just to give me a rough idea of how it will look before I actually put screws in the wall. And now that I actually see it, I think it's a little bit too close to the toilet. So originally I wanted to center it between the shower and the vanity. Now I actually want to scooch it away from the toilet a little bit. I tried to measure the center between the toilet seat and the shower curb, but that was really difficult to do. So instead I picked an arbitrary distance of about 2 inches off of the tile on the wall, and that's where the towel bar will start. The next thing I'm going to do is take my level and try to align it with the 2 marks that I made at 41 inches on either side of the tape. And then I'm going to put one straight line all the way across the tape. You'll also notice I make a small mistake here by making my mark on the wrong side of the level. And I get a small little dip in the center, but that's not going to throw off my other measurements. The next thing I'm going to use is my stud finder. And I really like this stud finder because it actually shows you the full width of the stud. And what I end up doing is putting a pencil mark on either side of the stud with an X in the center. That way I know what the full width is. Now, if you remember earlier, I said that this is an 18-inch towel bar. That typically means that that's 18 inches off of the center of either end. But I don't want to make any assumptions, so I just want to verify that it is 18 inches on the center of the two posts. And it is. So since these are 18 inches apart, I'm going to take this bracket and line it up on my tape. You can see my mark here where it's 2 inches away from the shower. Then I'm going to make a small tick on each of these openings for the bracket. I'm also going to make sure that both of those ticks are centered on the line that I marked as level. This is going to tell me where I need to drill. And the instructions tell me that if I'm going into drywall, which I am, then I'm supposed to use these drywall anchors. The instructions also tell me that I should use a 1/4 inch bit to drill into the wall, which means that each bracket is going to need 2 holes in the wall in order to support it. Then I repeat this process by measuring 18 inches from the center of the bracket and making that mark on the tape. Once I drill out all the holes, I can remove the tape. So these are the drywall anchors that they sent me. The very end of it is blunt, and the sides will expand out as I start to put the bolt in. And all I really need to do to put the anchors in is just to try to wiggle them in. I could have also grabbed a hammer and lightly tapped it in, but this worked just as well. Once the anchors are in, I'm going to take the bracket and mount it using the bolts. I hand tighten them first just so they stay on the wall. They'll move around quite a bit, and that's totally normal. In the end, you're going to have a little bit of freedom to still make it level, so don't worry if they're wiggling around a little bit. Then I'm going to grab a power drill, and on a very low speed, I'm going to put the screws in, being very careful not to over-tighten. Once you feel like you're getting close, you should hand tighten them in the end. Now we're ready for the final step. We're going to take the covers in the bar and just make sure that it fits over the brackets correctly. Notice that I don't have to force this and that it goes in relatively easily. It also feels like the bar is going to be held correctly. And since none of this is actually screwed together yet, I'm going to take the first decorative piece and mount it over the bracket. You'll notice that there's a tiny screw hole on the bottom, and I'm not going to over tighten the first one because I want to leave a little bit of wiggle room. That way, if it's not perfectly level, I can make some final adjustments. So I have a feeling that it's going to be off this first time. Now I'm going to take the bar, attach it to the decorative cover, and start putting the rest of it together. And I'm going to tighten the screw just enough to hold it to the wall. Now this final step, you might have to play with it a little bit, and I actually got pretty lucky. It's almost dead on. So at this point, I'm going to grab my Allen wrench and tighten the screws even more. That way the towel bar doesn't move at all. And that's how you mount a towel bar. I think this is way easier than using the template that's provided by the manufacturer. For the most part, this process went relatively quick for me. I think the only thing that was slowing me down was constantly having to film each step. But I think you could easily get this done in maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And if you liked this video or other ones that I make, please make sure to both like and subscribe to this channel. It greatly helps the YouTube algorithm and helps me get additional views. Right now I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so every time you subscribe, it gets me one step closer towards being able to monetize this channel. And with that, I hope I can eventually create a website, some branding, a logo, maybe even work with some actual video editors so that I can make content much quicker. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook and Patreon just to see what else is new. The last thing I'll talk about is the state of the shower project. Right now we're on day 33, and technically the shower's been functional since day 29, but the glass company is moving a little bit slower than I expected. So we don't expect the glass to get installed until day 37, which is kind of unfortunate. We already have our tenant moved in, and we're tempted to get a shower rod in the meantime, but so far I think this project's looking great. I have several more towel bars and toilet paper holders and other decorative things I need to put up in this shower, so I'm definitely going to make one final video just to show off how the whole thing turned out in the end. But as always, I hope you learned something, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope that you come back soon. Thanks for stopping by.